getting overpowered the moment he got reincarnated into another world. Even though he was still a child, he was able to slay a powerful S-rank dragon, and he has incredibly overwhelming stat. He was even blessed by the 7 gods of the continent, and was chosen as an apostle of God. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and also leave a comment about this anime recap, so we can improve better on our edits. Seeing that 2 young girls were about being killed by an armed man, he hurriedly went to save them, but he ended up getting stabbed and died of excessive bleeding. He was glad that the girls were saved. He later woke up in an unfamiliar, extravagant room. He thought he was in a hospital, but he realized that no matter how many people he'd saved, being in a luxurious room isn't possible. Seeing that he has woken up, his maid and a lady who claimed to be his mother hurriedly hugged him. He had no idea what was going on, but what shocked him the most was his appearance in the mirror. He started raising ruckus because he had no idea why his body had changed. They thought he was confused since he's been in bed for a week because of his fever, so his mother told him to rest. He was surprised that he's become a child, just like reincarnation in light novels, so that means his main body couldn't be saved, but the 2 girls were saved. Later, he was able to get some information about his identity from his maid. His name was Cain von Silford, and he's 3 years old. His father is Garm, and his mother is Sarah. Rain is his older sister who is 2 years older than him. The first wife is Maria, and his mother is the second wife. Maria has 2 sons, Jean and Alec, and Cain is the 3rd son of Garm. Garm is a mangrave who is a high aristocrat and has his own army. He independently prevents invasion from other countries, and there is a forest of monsters to the south of the Astored Kingdom of Gracha territory, which is ruled by Garm. He was really excited about hearing of the forest of monsters and also at hearing about adventurers who fight with sword and magic. He really wanted to start learning magic, but his maid told him that it would be difficult right away, so she told him to start learning how to read and write. When he heard there was magic, he was ready to live in this world. Because in his previous world, his grandfather, the last of his family, was gone, and he was all alone, so he had no regret. As they were dining, the news that Cain was able to write and do maths made Garm happy. It was an amazing feat, but it was only natural because he was a high school student on the inside. Garm then asked him why he wanted to learn so suddenly. His mother also realized that he had changed ever since he got a fever. He told them that he was just trying to learn about all the things in the world. He then asked his father if he would allow him to read a book about the history and magic of the country. He was permitted to read it. Although Cain was interested in magic, they thought it was too early for him because he needed to be baptized first, and he'd have to wait until he's 5. So Garm told him to study the book first, since they don't believe he could perform magic right away. But he was able to cast magic on his first try. But he decided to hide it away from others. Rain suddenly appeared in front of him, which scared his brain out of his head. He thought his sister saw him using magic, but she didn't. Instead, she decided to teach him about the outside world. So she came to his room every day and told him about the Estford Kingdom, which has existed about 300 years. She also told him about the first King Yuya, also about elves, dwarves, and beastmen. The day for his baptism and unveiling party finally arrived. He saw the outside world for the first time. This is a world that he has longed for since his previous life. He then asked his sister what it's like to be given status magic. She then showed him her status window. He was impressed that she was able to use 3 types of magic. Rain received the blessing of the god of magic at level 2. Garm explained to Cain that there are 1 to 5 levels of magic and blessings. The higher the level, the higher the quality of the person itself. And blessings are very useful, or the amount of magic power and skills needed to activate magic. And the blessings are from the gods. They arrived at the church, and in the church, he saw the pillars of the 7 gods. And today, they would be reporting to those gods that Cain has finally reached 5 years old. And that is baptism. Suddenly, the 7 pillars shined with bright light. Cain then subconsciously arrived at the gods' domain, where he met the 7 gods of the world, and they've been waiting for him. They also knew about his reincarnation. Cain was shocked since he didn't hear about real God appearing during the baptism. They told him that they've been waiting for him, and they were even aware of his original identity before his reincarnation. He met Zenon, the god of creation who created the world. Cain thought he was just some weird old man who was doing a cosplay, but the gods were able to read his thoughts. Lime, the god who controls the cycles of life and death, was in charge of telling Cain about his reincarnation. She told him that his death was accidental. At that time, he defended the girls. He wasn't supposed to attack him head-on because the murderer was going to fall and be subdued by the people around him. Cain was sad that he died for nothing, even though he had gathered all his courage to protect the girls. But the murderer ended up being charged with murder because of his death. Because he died for his good deeds, the god of earth asked Lime to reincarnate him into this world. She was supposed to keep his memories sealed, but she ended up not doing it. Cain wasn't angry at all. Rather, he thanked them for his reincarnation. Reno, the god of magic. She decided to give him her blessing since he had been practicing how to use magic. Cernos, the god of war. Grim, the god of skills. Panam, the god of commerce, and Bella, the god of earth. They all gave him their blessing. The priest have never seen the statue of God shine so brightly. Garm then asked Cain to show him his status. Cain had a really bad feeling about showing it to them, so he made an excuse about his stomach hurting in order to avoid showing it to them. Cain was shocked when he saw his status. He was glad he didn't show it to them. All his blessings and skills all exceeded level 10. The blessings are mostly level 5. He immediately decided to hide it and not to show it to anyone. He then used creation magic to hide his real status. They finally arrived home and were having dinner. Garm then asked Cain to show him his status. Cain told them that he had received many blessings from the gods, but when he showed them his status, they were all shocked. In addition to the blessing of the god of creation, he also had the blessings of the other 6 gods. What shocked them the most was his absurd amount of magic power. Even a royal court magician has about 10,000. Garm then told Cain not to let anyone see his status. It's promising, but it could be a threat to the country, and if he was to act recklessly, he would be placed under the control of the state. Garm brought adventurers to become Cain tutor. The red-hair girl name is Millie, a rank D adventurer, while the other girl name is Nina, an elf, also a rank D adventurer. The deal they made was to teach Cain for 3 years. They started training immediately. They started with swordsmanship training, but to their surprise, Cain was beyond their expectations. Millie then decided to spar with Cain. Despite being 5 years old, he was doing way more better. His swordsmanship was so sharp. Millie wasn't able to continue with the spar since she couldn't keep up with Cain's speeds. She passed him to Nina to teach him magic. Nina has the blessing of the god of magic level 3. She decided to start with the basics, but Cain told her that he can do it already because he practiced it in the book. He then showed her his water ball, fireball, and rock bullet magic. Nina was surprised that he used chantless magic. It takes tremendous training just to shorten the chanting, but at 5 years old, Cain was able to do it, and it's also an all-attribute magic. Not even a sage-class royal court magician can use all attributes magic. Moreover, Cain's magic power was so overpowered. They told Cain that they can't teach him anymore because they can't keep up with his magic power. Cain then suggested that they should give him outside lectures, since he have never been to the outside world before. But they need to take permission from Garm. They told Garm that they can't train Cain at the mansion anymore, because his swordsmanship and magic are both beyond beginner's level, and if they were to teach him in the mansion, it would be blown to pieces. Garm accepted the proposal to teach Cain outside, but on the condition that they must return before sunset, and that they should not go far, and above all, they should know their limit. Nina then told Cain to try some intermediate magic. He decided to use firewall, but his magic output was insane. Even his tutors couldn't withstand the pressure. Cain's magic was beyond intermediate level. They thought he had consumed a lot of magic power from his first casting, but he didn't even flinch. Suddenly, they were attacked by a killer rabbit, and they're dangerous creatures that attack humans. But Cain was able to defeat it easily with air bullet. It was his first catch, so they told him to sell the materials, but he wanted to show it to his mother and sister. He then put it inside his item box. Millie told Cain that she would also like to buy a magic bag when she has enough money saved up. Because the magic bag does not need one to be skilled to get the same effects, although it's expensive, they continued their hunt by slaying more rabbit, but as he was about to go deep into the forest, Millie immediately stopped him, because it's a dangerous forest that is full of strong monsters. Once every few decades, they run amok, and many monsters attack the city. That's the reason the city has a great outer wall. Cain was shocked when he checked his status. He became level 8 after he killed a couple of killer rabbits, and he then saw in the status that God's apostle receives 100 times X. His stat really makes him inhuman, and if his status were known, he would not only be under state control, but he'd be taken down.